Have you ever looked at your grown children and wondered, when did things change? Once they clung to your hand. They asked for your advice. They listened. They respected you. But now they interrupt. They ignore. They speak to you like your words don't carry weight anymore. You raised them with love. You sacrificed, gave up dreams, sleepless nights, and quiet prayers. All so they could have a better life. And yet here you are. Feeling invisible, unappreciated, sometimes even disrespected. If you feel like the bond with your children is fading, if your voice feels smaller in the very home you built, you're not alone. But here's the truth, getting angry won't fix it. Begging won't fix it. What will? 6 powerful changes, quiet, graceful, firm. Shifts that don't require confrontation but restore your dignity. Stay with me to the end and I'll show you how to reclaim your place. Not through conflict, but through quiet strength. Welcome to Wisdom of Older Age A, where we share the truths nobody tells you about growing older. If you're over 60 and seeking strength, purpose, and peace in this new chapter of life, you're in the right place. Let's begin. White Evie checkmark action number 1. Stop chasing their approval. One of the most common traps older parents fall into is this: trying too hard to please their grown children. You rearrange your schedule for them. Say yes when you really mean no. Swallow your opinions to avoid arguments. All in the name of keeping the peace. But here's a hard truth: chasing their approval only teaches them that your feelings don't matter. Respect doesn't come from sacrifice. It comes from self-respect. I once knew a woman named Margaret. In her younger years, she was bold, strong, even fierce. But once her kids grew up, she started dimming her light, letting them make all the decisions, staying quiet even when they were unkind. I just want to hold the family together, she told me. But over time, her silence made her invisible. Her children didn't grow closer, they just grew used to her giving in. If your children don't respect you, the first step isn't to demand it. It's to stop acting like you need it. Say no when you need to. Speak your truth without fear. Because when you begin to respect yourself again, they'll have no choice but to follow. White Evie checkmark action number 2. Don't argue, lead by example. When someone speaks to you with disrespect, it's tempting to argue back, to raise your voice, to defend your worth. But respect isn't won in battle, it's earned in presence. Fighting for respect often makes it disappear faster, because it shows you're trying to prove something. Frank, a retired teacher I once knew, learned this the hard way. He spent decades leading classrooms with grace. But at home, his grown children began treating him like background noise, mocking his opinions, ignoring his advice. At first, he argued every single time, but it only made things worse. Then he did something different. He stopped chasing their ears and instead carried himself like a man who didn't need to be heard to matter. He spoke less, but when he did, his voice was calm, wise, grounded, and they noticed. Slowly, they began to listen, not because he demanded it, but because he embodied it. If your children don't respect you, don't fight them for it. Model what respect looks like. Stand tall, speak with calm authority, and never let their tone dictate your own. Because when you stop reacting and start reflecting strength, they will feel it. And in time, they will respond to it. Action number 3. Rebuild your identity outside of parenthood. For decades, your identity may have revolved around being a parent. You were the provider, the protector, the one they leaned on. But now your children have their own lives. And sometimes that shift makes you feel like your role is fading. Here's the truth: you are more than just mom or dad. When you cling too tightly to your role as a parent, especially after your children no longer depend on you, it can make you feel lost and, worse, make them pull away. But when you begin investing in yourself again, everything changes. Take George, for example, a widower in his late 70s. After retirement, he spent all his energy trying to stay involved in his children's lives. But it only made them distance themselves more. Until one day, George took a pottery class at the local senior center. Then he joined a book club, started walking daily with a neighbor. Before long, he wasn't just sitting by the phone waiting for a call. He was living. And guess what? His kids started calling more, because they saw a man who didn't need them to feel complete. When you show your children that you are fulfilled, independent, and active, they start to respect you not as a dependent parent, but as a whole person with your own life. White Evie checkmark action number 4. Speak from wisdom, not wounds. When your children hurt you, it's easy to speak from pain. You never visit. You don't care about me anymore. I sacrificed everything for you. But these words, no matter how true, often come from wounded places. And wounded words tend to push people away. Instead of guilt, speak from wisdom. Say things like, "I've learned that I feel closer to you when we talk once a week." Or, "I value family and I hope we can keep nurturing that connection." Your life experience is deep. You've been through storms, heartbreak, love, loss. Use that emotional intelligence, not emotional outbursts, to express your feelings. Because when you speak calmly with emotional maturity, your children may not agree right away, but they will hear you differently. Over time, your wisdom becomes louder than your wounds. And that's where respect begins to grow again. White heavy checkmark. Action number 5, stop being too available. It might feel good to always be available when your children call or need something. But here's the problem. When you're always available, they begin to think you have nothing else going on. And slowly, they stop seeing you as someone with value outside of their needs. You deserve to be more than someone who waits by the phone. Start creating gentle boundaries. Don't cancel your plans just because they suddenly want to visit. Don't drop everything to babysit when you're exhausted. Learn to say, "I'd love to, but I have plans that day. Can we find another time?" Being occasionally unavailable reminds your children that your time matters too. And nothing earns respect faster than someone who values their own time. Respect begins where self-worth lives. White heavy checkmark. Action number 6. Let go of the need to be right. You have decades of life behind you. You've seen the world change. You've raised children. You know things they don't. So yes, it's tempting to correct them, to argue when they make bad decisions, to try to teach them like you used to. But here's a sacred truth in old age. Sometimes being at peace is more important than being right. When you stop trying to control their choices. When you let them fall and learn. When you offer support but not sermons. They start turning to you because they want to, not because they're told to. Wise elders speak few words, but those words carry weight. Don't argue to prove you're still wise. Just be wise. Because in time, wisdom becomes the loudest voice in the room. Brain final message: reclaiming respect without force. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to beg to be loved. And you don't need to fight to be respected. Your presence, your grace, your quiet strength. These are the tools that rebuild relationships. And if your children have lost sight of the respect you deserve, show them how to find it again by finding it in yourself first. You're not just someone's parent. You're a person with wisdom, value, and dignity. And the moment you begin to honor that, they will too. If this message spoke to your heart, share it with someone who needs it. And don't forget to subscribe to Wisdom of Older Age, where your story still matters. Your voice still counts. And your wisdom will never go unnoticed.